The International Skating Conference presenting the roller game of the week. From the Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, California, we're bringing you the San Francisco Bombers against the Canadian Braves. I'm Elmer Anderson here at trackside. We're in the very first skating period of this exciting game between the Bombers and a team from Canada. General manager and owner Lester Quarles. His entourage with him is Natasha Hill as the legal advisor. But here we have the officials. There's Lester Quarles. He's the owner, and there he's all. Look at this. Lester Quarles is making Leroy Lambert, as he's also the coach of the team, doing a little shoe shining here. That's the legal secretary there, scribbling a little notes here. Lester tells her, you mark everything down I say. He is a tyrant. There's something absolutely different about that man. We don't know what names to call him. He'd sue us for libel. He certainly would. And there's your Bomber team in their white jerseys and the brown shorts and tights. And of course in color is the Canadian Braves in their familiar maple leaves on their jerseys, and they're all in scarlet. A beautiful looking team, but they got a leader and an owner that's just a little bit, he is really something. And he is threatened to decimate practically this Bomber team. Here's the play starting now. Here's a little tiny Canadian Brave. Too green. While the Bomber jammer is moving on in at the rear of the pack, getting blocked out by one of the greatest blockers in the league today. That's number 32 is Barbara Baker trying to get in there, and Calvello back trying to block and stop the Canadian Brave to move in. Watch Syverson. That's the big, tall blonde dropping Barbara Baker. Now Anne Calvello. The old veteran is trying to stop the Canadian Brave. She drops her. The Canadian Brave gets up here, starts to move in. Here comes Barbara Baker on a late chase. Moving in, and is Calvello going to be able to do it? Bam! Down she did. But Barbara Baker, we're going to have to watch the play here. One Bomber point in that play. Excellent work. Beautiful work. And now, Rosetta Saunders and Oh, did you see that punch by Syverson? Wow, if that girl's head is on her shoulders, that's a miracle. The Bombers, now they've been threatened by the Canadian Braves. They've really been telling the Bombers off what they're going to do, tear them up, humiliate them in front of their Bomber fans, and we're going to have a battle tonight. We're on in the first skating period of this game. And this is, there he is, Lester Quarles, Leroy Lambert, Diane Syverson coming over. There, the gal on the right, Natasha Hill. Oh, that Leroy is really something, that little guy. He's a sneak. He can do more damage with that 3-foot height or whatever it is. 2 feet, 2.5 feet, whatever it may be. But he's a troublemaker. There he is, old loudmouth. Despite his diminutive size, he keeps low. Lester, very egotistical, very sardonic. He thinks he can do no wrong. He brought, of course, as I said before, would you believe it, a legal secretary and advisor. Keeps her with him all times. All she does is write and write and write. Boy. Well, the pack is going to get back intact now at our score. 4-1 in favor of the Canadian Braves. Syverson again now going back after the Bomber. So the Braves leading the Bombers here. This is a very important game. You know, we'd like to tell you about some upcoming games on Friday the 15th at the Cow Palace, a big doubleheader. 2 foreign teams will be up there, the Latin Liberators with Sally Vega and Ralphie Valadares. And the Canadian Braves, of course, with Lester Quarles and his entourage. Going to be against your Bomber team. Big doubleheader in the Cow Palace on the 15th of the month. And then Tuesday, November 19th, the Bombers and the Liberators at San Jose's Auditorium. Make a note of that date. Write them down. Keep you aware as to when and where roller games are occurring in your city or nearby. And Calvello just dropping 2 of the Canadian Braves. The real veteran of them all. Next to Annice Big Red Jensen and Teresa Calvello. Doing our usual steady work. He moves in there. Cal's half a range. And what we got Diane Syverson. Here's the human buzzsaw. This gal is a tyrant. And Big Red Jensen did it. She shoved Ed Calvello right through. And now Calvello's going to try and get Big Red in. And we did it. They did it. And the Bombers are rolling on. A tremendous crowd here at the Cow Palace cheering the Bomber team on. They're great. They're good. And the Bomber fans are really appreciative of the job that the Bombers are. Lambert, he stuck his foot out. 4 Bomber points, and Lester Quarles now is out there telling somebody off. There he is out after Bob Hein. Bob Hein getting right in there, protecting that Bomber gal. And Lester Quarles. There's Paul the Bear Rupert, number 7 in our screen. And the Bomber is down, and there goes the little troublemaker. The little troublemaker, he makes a big mess of it. And they're warning, there's the official, Bobby Seaver, telling Lambert to knock it off, stay off the track, along with Lester Quarles. Quarles, he's an argumentative character. So that pack is getting back intact now. We got score of 5-4 favor the San Francisco Bomber team. 1 minute 27 seconds remaining of the first skating period. Elmer Anderson here trackside, bringing you the roller game of the week from the Cow Palace, a big, beautiful building. We might say one of the finest in the country today. We visit practically every single building that have big capacities. But the roller game fans now are watching as a 3-girl whip, and Joan Weston moves on out down the straightaway, and again the High Point Center track Bombers use here, and it's again a little intriguing to watch the Canadian Braves, their first venture on this track. So we'll watch Diane Syverson entering her 12th year on the bank track. Her home originally was Castro Valley, believe it or not. Now a member of the Canadian Braves. They've been up there around 2 years. And she loves it. She moves in, but she's got a temper mean as a junkyard dog, I'll tell you. She is moving in. You see her skip there. That track's giving her a little bit of trouble. She went down on the inside, slipped and fell. Gets right back up. Number 34, Delores Tucker takes her down again. Joan Weston keeps on moving now. Big Joan is moving. Coming right in there on the inside, and they did it. The Bomber gal again outmaneuvering the Canadian Braves, and boy, they're upset. 1 Canadian point and 4 Bomber points, and the fans here interested. See that? Famous Chinese proverb, well said here by the pictures, worth a million words. Lester Quarles along with Leroy Lambert. What he's doing now is starting to kick, and he went down. Hey! Well, the period comes to an end. That first period comes to an end, and the men are going to take the track for the second skating period. We got a timeout call. There he is, a little Leroy again. Oh, Calvello got one. Calvello got one from that briefcase that never leaves his hand. To score 9-5, favor the San Francisco Bombers. Action coming your way, but first these words. And we're rolling out now with the men on the track for the second skating period. Our officials tonight, Hugh Kindle and, of course, Bobby Severs, doing a fantastic job as usual. Former skater Bob Hein, the bald eagle up in front. Let's watch the Bomber. Big Cal Steven whips out. Joe Perez. Here's a guy, Jumpin Joe, and he can move life very fast. The only problem, he says, them big guys, they hit him high, hit him in the nose all the time. He's had 3 broken noses the past year. Right behind him now, the Canadian Brave, Dennis Benson. Speaks with a decided Swedish accent. Moving in, Joe Perez is doing a good job. They're going to try to get on the inside. Paul Rupert was low, and he passed one of the Canadian Braves. He's going to try for more. Bombers trying hard, trying to get all those points. They want every one they can get. 2 Bomber points in that play, and again, the Canadian Braves are a little upset. They didn't think they'd be getting this kind of battle. Good work by the Bomber on defense. They're sharpening up. They're shaping up this Bomber team, as we said before in other previous telecasts. They're destined, it says, to be the world champions. The next one, Lester Quarles talks to Leroy Lambert about doing something. You can bet it's not good. And of course, like a little stooge that he is. Yes, sir. No, sir. Rolling out here, big Ed Dresser. He's a tall one, 6'2". And number 6 of the Canadian Braves, Louis Cabala. That's a nice job of skating. He was a former ice skating champion from Toronto. Man, there goes the Bomber with a good block, and now he comes right back in. Dresser slipping a little bit. This track is causing them a little concern here. They got to be very cautious on their plays, but it's 1-1 as they reach the rear of the pack. Number 7, the Paul the Bear Rupert. You talk about a giant. You talk about a tough one. He is it. Here comes Paul moving in. He's got his sights set on that double block of Bob Hein and Cal Stevens. He broke through. They went in the infield. They went to the outside, and the Canadian Braves come to life here. They're moving in. What do we got? 4 Canadian Brave points in that play. 4 big ones. Remember, there's Lester Quarles. He's happy now. And look at him. Always talking. Never shuts up. That guy is really something. He's quite an enigma. Lester Quarles, he talks to anybody, anything that's not nailed down, you can bet. But the pack is getting back intact. And remember, right after this period, we'll have interview time. We'll talk to some of the skating stars of the first half of the game. There is Natasha Hill and Lester Quarles. He brings his entire entourage with him. She writes and writes and writes, takes notes, takes anything about the other team that will help them in future games. Canadian Braves have consistently, constantly threatened the Bomber team. They've lined themselves up with Lester Quarles and Dave Pound. Well, Gene Boyer has got other ideas about the Bomber team. John Wrice is moving in. Wrice moving in, doing a nice job. Now let's watch him. He's moving up to Paul the Bear Rupert. Wow, look at that Rupert. How'd you like to be the recipient of one of those big clobbers? And now John Wrice, he's smaller in stature, and he is getting it, getting pummeled and pounded, and practically peeled apart here in this play. And now Paul Rupert is signaling to something, signaling right. Oh, no! No! Lester Quarles absolutely blasted him with that briefcase. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's in there, but brother, let me tell you something. That hurts. Lambert in there kicking and kicking. And there's a timeout call here. Now they're going after the little guy. You talk about trouble. You talk about a troublemaker. They ought to put him in a cage, absolutely. I don't know what the ruling in the commission here, but Lester Quarles taking advantage of the Bomber team. We got a timeout call here. Taking him off the track, marching him down there. We got to keep our eye on that twosome, I'll tell you. And then Calvello, there's the score, 12-9 in favor of the San Francisco Bombers. So more action's coming your way, but first these words. So the men now with 6 minutes up. We got 5 minutes and 54 seconds remaining of this game. This period, we should say. We've got to keep our eye here on this troublesome trio. Now Lester Quarles is giving that briefcase. In all his tenure as coaches and the Texas Outlaws, wherever he has been before, he always has that briefcase. The weapon, it hurts. Nobody knows what's in it, never opens it. Down goes the San Francisco Bomber, and number 6, Louis Cabala, moves on out. This is a youngster we've never seen before. In fact, we have never telecast a Canadian game. But here they are at the Cow Palace in Oakland, California. Making their trip down yesterday.